I didn't think my wife was capable of evil. Not just lying or cheating, but that kind of cold, calculated manipulation that ruins a man's life. The kind that makes people doubt you, hate you, abandon you, the kind of evil you only expect to see in movies. But that's the mistake I made. I trusted her more than I trusted my own instincts. And now I live alone. I have nothing, no one, and I still ask myself how I ever let it happen. My name is Jordan. I was married to a woman named Claire for 8 years. And this is the story of how she destroyed everything I was. When I met Claire, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. She was warm, smart, beautiful in a low-key way that didn't beg for attention but always got it. She worked as a nurse, said she wanted a quiet life. We dated for a year before I proposed. Everyone loved her. My mom called her the daughter she never had. My sister, Becca, said Claire made me softer in a good way. We got married on a rainy October afternoon. Everything felt simple, easy, real. And for the first 5 years, it was. We had our struggles. Money was tight, work stressed me out, but she was my person. I trusted her. She told me I was lucky to have her, and I believed her. That belief was my first mistake. Around year 6, Claire started to change. She started dressing up more, putting on perfume just to go to Target. She guarded her phone. She started working more double shifts than I could count. When I asked her what was going on, she said, "You're being paranoid." I wanted to believe her, so I did. I started convincing myself it was me, that I was being insecure, needy. I started overcompensating, buying her flowers, cooking dinner, cleaning the house, hoping she'd come back to me emotionally. But she didn't. She grew colder. Then one night, she came home late, smelled like a man's cologne, and told me she was tired of pretending. "What do you mean?" I asked. "I don't love you anymore," she said. "I haven't in a long time." Just like that. No emotion, no tears, no explanation. A week later, she told my family I had been cheating on her. Let that sink in. She told them, my mother, my sister, my childhood best friend, that I had broken the vows, that I had been sneaking around, texting other women, even bringing someone into our home. None of it was true, not a word. But she didn't need proof. Just tears. Just the "I never thought Jordan would do this to me" look on her face. My mom called me the next day, voice shaking. "Jordan, how could you?" My sister texted, "You're a liar. Don't ever contact me again." Claire destroyed me with a story, and people ate it up. What they didn't know, what no one seemed to care about, was what I had discovered 2 days after she left. A receipt for a hotel, 2 towns over. One she stayed at on a night she claimed to be working a double. A private message I accidentally saw pop up on our shared laptop from someone named Rick. He called her baby, said he missed her. I tried to show people. I sent screenshots, sent the receipt, showed the timestamps. They didn't believe me. "You probably faked that," Becca said. "Classic guilty move," my best friend added. Every attempt to prove my innocence made me look more guilty. She knew what she was doing. I was naive. I thought the truth would come out in court. Didn't. She told the lawyer I had emotionally abused her, that she felt unsafe in our home, that she feared retaliation. She filed restraining orders, told the judge I stalked her, harassed her, and tried to ruin her new relationship. Meanwhile, I was barely holding it together. I hadn't left my apartment in weeks. I wasn't eating. I'd lost 25 pounds. I was on the verge of being fired for calling in sick too often, because I couldn't face the world knowing they thought I was a monster. When it came time to divide our assets, she took everything. The house? Hers. The car? Hers. The savings account I'd built over 8 years? Gone. She got it all. I walked away with a bag of clothes and a cracked laptop. And the silence of everyone who used to love me. People say time heals. That's bullshit. Time doesn't heal betrayal. It just gives you space to understand how deep it went. Every time I check social media, there she was smiling with Rick, posting selfies with captions like, "He's the best thing that ever happened to me." People commented, "So happy you found someone who treats you right." Even my mother liked one of those posts. I deleted everything. My accounts, my photos, my entire digital presence. It hurt too much. Some nights I sat on the floor of my empty apartment and stared at the wall. Other nights I drank until the room stopped spinning. I stopped trusting people, stopped answering texts, stopped hoping for redemption. I became a ghost in my own life. It was a year after the divorce when she called me. She said, "I want to apologize." I laughed. "You want to apologize?" I asked. "After you lied, cheated, ruined my reputation, turned my family against me, took everything I owned, now you want to apologize?" She cried, said she was sorry, said she had issues she hadn't dealt with, that I didn't deserve what happened, that Rick left her, that she was in therapy now. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just said, "I hope therapy helps, but don't ever call me again." And I hung up. That was the last time I heard her voice. I never got my family back. My mom passed away from a stroke 6 months after that call. I wasn't invited to the funeral. My sister posted a picture with Claire that day, captioned, "Some people stay true no matter what." I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I just stayed home, looked at an old photo of me and Mom at my wedding. Then I threw it in the trash. I started working nights, isolated myself, kept my head down. I tried dating once, but I couldn't let anyone in. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. For the lie, the betrayal, the knife in the back. It never came, but I couldn't forget what it felt like. Still haven't. People like stories with happy endings. They want the man to rebuild, to find love again, to rise from the ashes. But that's not this story. I didn't become rich. I didn't get revenge. I didn't expose Claire and clear my name. I just faded. Some days I still wake up and feel like a man who doesn't exist. I walk past people who used to love me, and they don't even nod. I go to the grocery store and wonder if the cashier heard her version of the story. There's no justice here, no closure, just silence and memory. If you've been through something like this, I won't feed you hope. I won't say it gets better. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the wound becomes part of you. You don't heal, you just learn to move without reopening it. This is what betrayal really does. It doesn't just break your heart. It erases you. It took me almost 2 years to get out of bed without feeling like I was already defeated. When someone you love betrays you, it shatters your identity. You start questioning what's real, what's true, and eventually, whether you deserve what happened. I stayed there for a long time in that place. That quiet, ugly, dark place where grief and humiliation live. Where the memory of her voice lingers and the sound of my mother saying, "How could you do that to Claire?" plays like a loop I couldn't shut off. But one night, after yet another faceless, meaningless shift at work, I looked in the mirror and saw someone I didn't recognize. And I decided he had to go. Not because I wanted peace, but because I wanted justice. I wanted revenge. I knew I couldn't go in loud. Claire had built a fortress of lies and charm. She had convinced family, friends, judges, and strangers that I was the villain. If I attacked her head-on, they'd just call me bitter. So I decided to do what she did. Be patient. Be subtle. Be deadly. The first thing I did was stop reacting. No more angry texts. No more pathetic emails. I went completely silent. Dead weight. Then I started digging. Rick, the guy she left me for, had no idea I existed. Turns out she told him I was her abusive ex-husband, constantly trying to control her and stalk her. Sound familiar? I reached out anonymously, posed as a job reference at first, then circled back months later under a real name, Nick, and met him at a local bar. Told him I was working on a documentary about online dating fraud. I said I'd heard his name pop up from multiple sources. He didn't bite right away, but people like Rick, they like attention, and eventually they talk. That's how I learned Claire had cheated on him, too, with a married doctor at her hospital. She'd moved in with Rick, drained his bank account, then disappeared when he threatened to go to the police. He was furious. So I showed him the messages, emails she'd sent me, timeline overlaps, photos. His face turned red. She told me you tried to kill yourself over her. No, I said. I wanted to, because she lied. To everyone. That's when Rick joined me. I started gathering receipts, emails, old phone records, hotel bills, photos of bruises she faked by bumping her arms against doorframes. A signed affidavit from a former coworker who admitted Claire bragged about milking the divorce. But I needed more. I went to a digital forensics expert, paid more than I could afford, asked him to retrieve deleted texts and files from our shared cloud account, stuff I no longer had access to because she changed the passwords. Took weeks. But when the report came in, I nearly dropped it. There were messages to friends about how she planned to ruin me. Texts saying things like, "He's pathetic. He'll believe anything. If I play this right, I'll get the house, the car, and the sympathy." There were even recordings. Voicemails she sent to a friend laughing about my family's loyalty to her. I printed them all, scanned them, saved backups on multiple drives. Then I made a list of everyone who turned their back on me, and I started preparing to burn her world to the ground. The first letter went to my sister. It included a typed, calm, detailed account of the marriage, evidence, transcripts, photos. Every accusation she'd made, side by side with proof it was false. I ended it with one sentence. "I hope this hurts the way your silence hurt me." Next was my former best friend, Dylan. Then Claire's parents, her co-workers, everyone who ever whispered behind my back. Each letter was different, personal, cold, factual. Some people never replied. Some sent angry texts, accusing me of weaponizing the past. But a few apologized. Quietly, hesitantly, my sister included. I posted everything online. Anonymously at first on a blog called Married to a Liar. But it gained traction fast. A few Reddit threads exploded. One of Claire's co-workers found it and realized the hero nurse they loved was a pathological liar. Then, a journalist reached out. Her name was Savannah. She'd seen the blog and asked if I'd be willing to talk on record. I hesitated. I still had my job to worry about, my mental health, my reputation. But then she said, "If even half of what you posted is true, this story could help other men who've been silenced." So I said yes. The piece was published 6 weeks later. It went viral in 3 days. Claire's employer put her on administrative leave, then fired her. Rick sued her for theft and defamation. I sent copies of the article to the judge who handled our divorce. I didn't expect it to change anything financially, but I wanted them to see what they allowed to happen. The world that once loved Claire flipped on her. People who once called me a monster now emailed me anonymously with things like, "I'm sorry I believed her. I should have asked questions. I thought she was an angel. I was wrong." I didn't reply to most of them, but I read every single one. The journalist who helped me, Savannah, became a friend. Maybe more than a friend eventually, but I won't pretend it was a love story. I was still broken, still afraid, but she never tried to fix me. She just listened. And when the next article dropped, titled, "Men Can Be Victims," 2, the Jordan Price story, my inbox exploded. Publishers, podcasters, support groups. For the first time in years, I felt seen. Not just as the man she destroyed, but as the man who came back. Claire emailed me one night. It was short. One line. "You win. Are you happy now?" I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The truth did what I never could. It exposed her, and she will never escape it. I never got my mother back. She died believing I was someone I wasn't. And that still eats at me. I never really got Becca back either. She apologized. But something between us remains fractured. Some wounds don't heal. They scar. But I can breathe now. People know the truth. Claire moved out of state, changed her name. I still get messages from people who stumble across the blog or articles and want to talk. Some men, some women, all hurt in similar ways. I don't give them hope. I give them honesty. People like redemption stories where the hero finds new love, starts a business, walks into the sunset with clean hands. But that's not this one. I don't walk into sunsets. I walk through fire. Every damn day. But now I do it with my head up. My name cleared. My past sharpened into a weapon. I still sleep alone. I still flinch at trust. I still wake up sometimes thinking I'm back in that hellish apartment, wondering what lie she's telling now. But I don't wonder if people believe me anymore. They do, because I made them look. And now they can't look away.
Betrayal does not always wear villains' face, and truth is rarely clean. Jordan's story is one of deep emotional trauma, unfair judgment, and the slow reclamation of his dignity. At its heart lies a common, painful reality. Relationships fail, people lie, and justice often comes too late, if at all. From one angle, Claire appears cruel, an intelligent, manipulative woman who weaponized lies to gain sympathy and material advantage. The evidence Jordan unearthed paints a compelling case that she constructed a false narrative to destroy his reputation and secure control of assets and relationships. Her actions, if taken at face value, are reprehensible. But human behavior is seldom black and white. Claire's decisions, while seemingly malicious, could have stemmed from fear, insecurity, or unresolved psychological issues. That doesn't excuse her actions, but it adds context. People lie not only to hurt, but also to survive, protect themselves, or maintain control when they feel powerless. The way she lashed out, the emotional coldness, the layering of stories, all suggest someone not only flawed, but perhaps damaged in ways even she didn't understand. On the other side, Jordan is not a perfect hero. He admits to falling into darkness, isolating himself, losing his sense of self. He became consumed by vindication, even vengeance. Though his actions were legally justified and strategically sharp, they were driven by a hunger not just for justice, but for reversal of humiliation. He wanted the world to hurt as he did. And in doing so, he risked becoming the very thing he was fighting against, a person defined by bitterness. Yet redemption did not come through revenge alone. Jordan's healing began not when others believed him, but when he chose to believe in himself again. The exposure of Claire's lies was secondary to his decision to stop being a victim. His journey from silence to voice, from isolation to publication, was a true turning point. Not the applause or the articles, but the courage to confront the past without letting it define his future. From a non-biased lens, this story is not about heroes or villains. It's about what happens when trust is weaponized, when love turns into a battlefield, and when truth becomes a casualty of perception. It's a cautionary tale, one that reminds us, not every smile hides innocence. Not every accusation deserves belief without evidence. And not every man who falls stays down. In the end, Jordan's story offers neither fantasy nor full closure. He doesn't ride off into the sunset. He walks away carrying scars, but also clarity. That's not a happy ending, but it's a real one. And sometimes that's enough.